Hey everybody, today we are going to talk about threading a sewing machine. So if you inherited a machine or got a brand new machine, took it out of the box, the first thing you got to do is thread the machine. So we're going to go over that today. I'm using the Janome 3160 today, but it should be pretty similar between most machines. Check your manual just to make sure that we're doing, the right steps. But yeah, so let's go over threading the sewing machine. All right, so first things first is we've got to wind a bobbin. So you need your bobbin, you need thread, and then on this particular machine, because our thread is horizontal, you'll need a spool cap. So I personally prefer the smaller one over the larger one, and I'll show you that here in a second. So we're gonna put our thread on our spool pin here. And so if I put the large one on here, I see issues with when this thread comes wrapping around that it can get tight the smaller that the thread gets on the spool here. So I personally do not like the large one, but it's definitely usable. So I like a smaller one just so that my thread will not get tight when it's coming off the spool here. So to wind a bobbin, put our thread on, and then we're gonna go in between these two metal discs right here. And that's gonna put tension on our thread as we're winding the bobbin, because we want a bobbin that is evenly wound as well as tight, not squishy. And then, I don't know, see that? We're gonna thread from the inside or the middle of the bobbin out this little hole on the outside. We're gonna pull our little tail here. We need to turn our machine on here. And then put our bobbin on there, make sure the tail side is facing up. And then we're gonna push this over to the side. That's gonna put it in bobbin winding mode, and it's gonna prevent the needle from moving up and down. Then I hit start, kind of hold on to this tail for a little bit here. And then we're gonna cut it off there, and we can keep winding here. So I turn the speed up. Right, so for a nice wound bobbin, you want to make sure that it's evenly wound, so it's not more thread at the bottom than the top, or more thread at the top than the bottom. But also when it's done here, we want to make sure that it is tightly wound. So when you push on it here, it shouldn't be super squishy. It should be pretty tight. All right. So when it's done winding there, we just need to cut our thread. And now we can start threading our machine. So since we just wound this lovely bobbin, we'll thread that here in a second here. So Janome does a pretty good job about putting like steps on where you need to go and how you need to do it. So if you forget, otherwise look at your manual. But step number one on this machine is to go behind this plastic piece here. So we're gonna go behind here. And then step two is getting it in the tension disc here, and make sure when you're threading the sewing machine that your presser foot is up. So if it's not, your tension disc here will be closed and you won't know for sure that it's in there. So we're gonna bring it down, and I like to floss it here just to make sure we get into those tension discs. And then we're gonna come around number 3 here, back up, and then around our take-up lever, which is this metal piece right here. And we want to make sure that we click it all the way to the front. We got to get it all the way to the front so it stays in there. If it comes out of there, you're going to have really bad stitches. The top thread's going to pile up underneath because nothing's pulling the top thread back up. All right, so after the take-up lever, there's as we bring our thread down, there's a metal plate right here that we got to get behind, as well as a metal plate right here by the needle that we need to put the thread behind as well. So the camera is probably going to go out of focus here while I do that, but we're going to hook our thread just like that. And then our next step is to use a needle threader. And before I use the needle threader, I like to use the needle up down button. So we're going to put the needle down, and then we're going to bring it back up just to make sure that our needle is in the correct position before we use this needle threader, because if it's not, the little metal hook in there can get bent, and then it's very frustrating because it'll never work again until we adjust it. So we put our needle down, we brought it back up. Now we're going to pull down our needle threader, and they call this a one-handed needle threader. So I pulled it down, it's staying where it needs to stay. Now we're going to thread around this plastic hook right there on the left-hand side. We're going to go around and underneath it, and then we're going to go up in front of the needle just like that, and I hold it up at an angle just a little bit with a little pressure. But now once we do that, we're going to just help this back up. So we're going to push up, but we're also going to let a little tension off on our right hand side here. And now we've got our loop behind the needle, as you can see right there. We're going to grab it and pull our thread to the back of the machine. If you pull it forward, you're going to unthread your needle, and you're going to have to start all over. But with the needle threader, that's an easy thing to do. So we'll put that thread under the foot. And the next step is threading the bobbin here. So we have a top loading machine here. So to take this plate off, the black thing here, we're going to push to the right, and that's going to pop up. We're going to pull that out. The cool thing with this particular machine is if you ever forget, there's a picture right there on it showing you how it needs to be threaded. So we're going to take this bobbin out. We're going to take our wound bobbin, and I like to think of it so the thread's coming off the left, and it looks like a P for piecing. So we're going to lay it in there just like that. And let's see if we can get a better angle on this here. 1 second. All right, so we've got a better angle here. So after we lay it down in there, our thread tail needs to come through this center kind of notch right there. And so we lay it in there, and then I like to hold the bobbin with my right hand and then pull this tail up and to the left. And that is all there is to it. All right, there you have it. We wound a bobbin, we threaded the top, we threaded the bobbin down below. Now you should be good to sew. If you're having any problems at all, the best thing to do is unthread everything and start all over. Just weird things can happen, so it's kind of like a reset. So very first thing you should try is to just take all your thread out and rethread everything. Thank you for watching. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Hit the like button. Share. Thank you.